What do you regret about the previous years of your high school experience?
So, coming from a first generation family, I feel that if I had someone to guide me more rigorously, I wish I took more extracurriculars freshman year and sophomore year. And to me, like, coming from middle school to high school was just like, I didn't know the importance of high school, that how much it's going to prepare me for college. So I didn't take it as seriously until I got to junior and senior year. So yeah, one thing I regret is that I just wish I was better prepared. So when I became a college applicant, I looked as fancy as any other student.
When do you think students should start SATs and ACTs prep? When did you begin preparation?
So I started preparation junior year, and I spent hours preparing, and I wish I did preparation at least a year before.
We did it.
Oh, so I wish I'm sorry, I lost myself. Yeah, I wish I started at least sophomore year, because I think it's important to start earlier because it gives you more time, and for me it was kind of rushed. Yeah.
Being a college applicant, what one advice do you want to give to other students?
Just to don't be afraid of knowledge in a way. Like, don't run away from it, and take as many classes you can, and be an all-rounder student, just so when you apply to college you look really good, and you look unique. And yeah, bring out yourself, and don't like hide behind the shades and whatnot. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. Why do you think English is an important class to take when people already know how to speak the language?
It's not like taking Spanish or French, where you're learning about how to speak the language or read the language. You're learning how to analyze the language, interpret the language, write in the language at an academic level, and not just a basic grocery store list level, right? Like, not just day to day, because in the real world you do have to write letters, you have to read the newspaper in order to be informed. So it's less about, I know how to speak the language, which is why Spanish speakers take Spanish classes, because they know how to speak it, but they don't know how to read it or write it at an academic level, which is very different than a non-educational level.
What do you think it's required? Why do you think it's required to take English for so many years, even though every class gives similar things, like reading and like freshman year, and then reading in sophomore year?
So you're not a master at reading or writing freshman year. You read books that are at your level, and your writing is expected to be at a certain level. The next year, there's more expected out of you, which is why people start world literature and go, oh my goodness, why am I not getting an A like I did in survey? Well, because it's a different course. You're expected to now know those things. You're good at that, and now you're going to work on building the next level. It's like math, right? Just because you learned algebra doesn't mean you know how to do calculus, because you don't.
What do you think about like students who are not taking enough classes?
I think, especially like in your senior year, in terms of having, I understand why some students maybe would only have 6 periods versus 7, but I think if they have the opportunity to take classes that they enjoy that are in the curriculum, I've had a lot of photo students, a lot of photo 2 students. We have a lot of digital students. I know the film class, a lot of kids really enjoy the film course that's offered on campus. So I think it's good if they definitely think about filling their schedule so that they can have classes that they enjoy versus classes that they need to have. And I think the school does a good job of offering a diverse group of courses that students can find an interest in and really spend some time, enjoying and finding their interests, in terms of where, it's a great time in high school especially to try drawing, try painting, try photo, take a film class, take an auto shop, just to see where, you have an interest and do you like it and do you want to pursue it further. So I think it's always a good opportunity if they fill their schedules.
How does photography apply to other careers?
Oh, there's so much you can do. There's so many avenues of photography. Obviously there's teaching. You can teach photography. You can be a commercial photographer where you do weddings and events and things like that. You can do family portraiture. You can do like fashion for high-end magazines. You can be, I have friends in New York City that are photo editors of magazines. You're learning sort of this foundation in photography that can lead you to a career, but there's so many avenues of photography that you can go into. It just depends where your interests lie.
Well, there's a lot of schools today that are cutting down art programs. What do you think is the value of keeping them?
I think it's really important. I mean, we just had that woman here from Google that was talking to our students. I don't know, it was maybe earlier in the semester. But the first thing she says is it all starts with art. It all starts with your creativity. So I think it's really important that kids have, in high schools especially, have a creative outlet. You know, everybody's got creativity in them. They just have to figure out how to get it out, whether it's through painting, drawing, photography, performing on a stage, singing in a choir, playing an instrument. Everybody's got their creative outlet. They just need to experience that. So I think it's disappointing that schools are kind of going there first and cutting those programs, because I think it's an important outlet for students. You know, just as sports are an important outlet, to have that sort of extracurricular activities for kids to take part in. But I just think it's really important. I think, you know, when you go into a job nowadays, especially here in Silicon Valley, they want to see how can you be innovative with your thinking? How can you be different? How can you stand out? So if you've had a class in drawing or photography and you can think how to be creative on your own, you're already making that first step in the right direction. So they want to see you as an individual. Like, you know, you might be sitting at a big table and everybody has to throw out ideas. So you have to generate ideas. You have to be creative. And the best way to do that is to start young and start your mind going and racing and trying to figure out all these great things in terms of how you can generate ideas and how you can be creative as an individual. So I think it's really important.
So there's a lot of students today that lack an interest in the art programs. Who do you think is responsible for influencing them to try it?
I don't know. That's tough. I think students in high school, you guys have so much going on that it gets maybe, there's so many other things to get involved in that it maybe it's hard for students to choose. It's hard to say, you know, it could be the student's own interest. I think a lot of kids that sign up for our advanced art classes are signing up because they took the first level and they liked it and they want to keep going with it. And I think it's their own individual choice. I think parents probably encourage, you know, maybe a parent took a photo class or an art class in high school or college and wants to see if their kid is interested. So I think parents can encourage really in a great way. But I think probably the individual, like if they want to do it, they're going to do it. If they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. And if they get put into a class where they're not interested, they're not going to perform, you know, to the best of their abilities. So I think it all comes down to the student. Like if you're interested, like you should definitely do it. Or if you think, that sounds interesting, you know, you should sign up and try to take it and see what it's like.
So what do you think is the main reason for students who do not try hard in high school?
I think there's not one specific reason. I think there's a combination of factors. I think it's kind of the preparation they've already gotten before they get to high school, and not realizing that they're not as prepared as other students, and so that's really hard for them. Sometimes also just having habits of studying. I think that some kids come in from schools where you don't have to do homework, or it's not done all the time. And so they come to a school that asks a lot of them, and it's about what you expect of yourself or what you're already used to, right? For some people, an hour of homework is like nothing. But for other kids, an hour of homework could be like impossible. So I think it's about just getting used to that, but also teaching our kids to be able to challenge themselves and become kind of their own motivators, to expect really high things from themselves. So it's a combination of things that then has a kid kind of come to school and then be like, well, one, I don't think I can do it. Sometimes my teachers are really very strict, so I don't feel like I can get access to support. I've never asked for help. I've never been taught how to ask for help. And so I think it's a lot of things, but that's kind of a long answer.
Okay.
Sorry.
What classes would you suggest that students should take in order to be a good applicant for colleges?
To be a good applicant for colleges, it depends on the university, right? But if we're looking at competitive schools, I think the best answer to that is what you're really strong at. So I know a lot of kids are told they take APs in all these subjects. Well, if you're not really strong in a certain area and you're gonna stress yourself out, you're gonna do well in your courses, and you're taking so many that you don't do well in anything, then that's gonna look good overall for a college. But if you're really good at art, and let's say you're good at English, then go ahead and take the honors and AP classes. You're gonna like it. You're probably gonna do better. and you have more of a balance. And also hopefully having that free time to then do other extracurricular activities, which universities look at too. Internships, volunteering, all that stuff. Enough that doesn't overwhelm you though. That's my big thing as a counselor. To be balanced and to take the rigorous classes, the advanced classes where you think you can do it, challenge yourself, but don't overburden yourself. So take those advanced courses, take more than a minimum. If it fits into your schedule and you're not sleeping for 5 days in a row.
Do you think students these days are fully prepared for colleges?
I think we do a decent job academically. I think we could do a little better with kind of the more independent study, independent management piece. A lot of times we tell kids what to do a lot, sit down, be quiet, be on time. And I think once they go on to college and they have to do a lot of these things and choices themselves, it's a very hard transition. I think we have to help kids in what they need. I think if students are behind, that they should be in school. I don't think we should just let them fall behind. I think that the school day should be longer. I think it should be year-round. I think that it's so important for kids to get education. I think our society would change if more kids were educated, that there shouldn't be a choice for kids to drop out. There shouldn't be a choice for kids to not do well. But that means we'd have to put more time in, we'd have to have more teachers, and we have to put more money in. And I think that's the big thing too, is how important education how much we put into it as a society, and we need to do more of that. But it's hard. It's also hard for kids, right? Like being in a class 6 hours a day, 6 different classes. Sometimes teachers are very engaging, sometimes they're not. Like, how can we make the classes different and more interesting for students? We're always telling them what to do, but how often do we ask them what they need and what they like different and really change things for them?